Okay. I just wanted to start off saying that this past week, Friday, was my father's YARTZEIT. So I'm not saying a hesped, but I just wanted to say a little bit. V'negeya Chayav, my father was Rav Agoyin Reb Shlomo Kralibch, Zecher Tzadik L'Vracha, and just to say a little bit, one of the key halakim of his life was that he went through many, many trials and tribulations in his life. He was in the concentration camps for from beginning till the end, in 9 different camps. And when he came here to America, he also had many types of tzaras from different types of people. But every time he was beaten down, he got up starker. And so he came after the war, came to America, he didn't have a penny to his name. He hadn't opened the sefer from when he was 16, he came here when he was 24. He sat in the beis medrash. He had no place to go. In the yeshiva that he went to, there was a dining room, beis medrash, and a dormitory in one building. He left the building once every 6 months. He got 50 cents from the office to get a haircut. That was it. He sat and learned Yom V'Layla that he should be able to catch up to all the other people who were in the yeshiva, that he should be able to be on the same level that they were. And a little, if you want to know Shnois Chayav, not too far in the distance, we'll be putting out a book, but he's giving hundreds and hundreds of shiurim all over on different topics. We just posted 100 of those shiurim on Kol HaLashon, if anybody's interested. He put out also many svarim. Point was, he was talking about Parshas Maseh, and every time it was Vayisa, was Vayachanu. And every time there was a trial and a tribulation, then came a menucha. There's no such thing as a menucha, a masais, or 42 masais, right? So after every, it says Vayisu, Vayachanu, right? I had to say Vayisu, Vayachanu to show, otherwise it would say one time Vayisu. If you're going to go straight masais, so then what's the point, right? So each one had to have a hefsek. Brought down from the Grosser Rebbes, that I'm quoting the Rav Shitzer, they say it from the Baal Shem Tov also, that one time there was a wagon driver, he was going through all kinds of hardships in his life, and he came to the Rebbe and said, Rebbe, what's will the Rebbeinu Shalom for me? What does he want from me? I have to go through so many things, I have to travel all over, I have to do all kinds of things. So he told him that just like Klal Yisrael, in order for them to reach the madrega of being Zoiche to get into the Midbar, to get into Eretz Yisrael, they had to go through 42 trials and tribulations. Question is, first of all, why 42, right? And what is 42 miramas? So, just to start on a short oifen, number 42 is talk about the mem beis masais. So if you take the mem beis and you turn it around, it becomes v'dibarta bam. Right? So the answer to all mem beis masais of trials and tribulations is v'dibarta bam. Yemahapich the mem beis to beis mem. As you know, bam is divrei Torah. Right? So that's one way of being misaken. Every trial that a person goes through in his lifetime, it'll come out divrei Torah. It'll be the tikkun hakoil in general. It's a vart in being mizdabek in the Rebbeinu Shalom and so on. What we look for is why dafka 42. That's number one. So answer is brought down, this shame of mem beis has brought down in a few places. One, everybody knows we say anu b'koyach. When do we say anu b'koyach? We say anu b'koyach when we're going from one madrega to the next madrega. We say it at the end of karbanis because we're going from one olam, which is karbanis, we're going to the next olam, right? We're going from asiyah, we're going to go up to the next olam, which is yitzira. So we say anu b'koyach to go to the next one. At the end of that, we say Yishtabach to get to the next one. The different cheshbon. Other time we say it, which everybody says it, is Kabbalah Shabbos. Right before we Makabal Shabbos, we say Anu B'Kayach. We're going from Chayil, we're going to go to Kodesh, Shabbos Kodesh. So we say Anu B'Kayach to lift us up a new madrega. In the Anu B'Kayach, if you look in the Proper Sidurim, right, the Siddur Vilna took it out completely for whatever reason. I mean, they have the Anu B'Kayach, but they don't have at the end of each line, which even the Art Scroll has, is it has the 6 letters of that pasuk, which in the first one, I don't want to say the Shemus, but Avki Tatz is the first one, right? So it has 6 letters times 7 lines. 6 times 7 is 42, which is Meram is the 7 days of the week, right? And each day of the week it has 6 Isias coming up to Membeis. That's one. Also we know that the shirish of the entire Torah comes from where? Bereshis bara Elokim, right? Sheishis Yimei Bereshis. And if you look in the Pardes Remainim, which I'm looking at right now actually, and he shows that every single ice from Bereshis bara Elokim, Ezra Shemai Be'ez Haaretz, and go through the first 42 letters of Bereshis bara, those first 42 letters is called also Shem Mem Beis. And if you go through the Tmuras HaIsiyas, Tmuras HaIsiyas means that we swap one ice for another one. A mashal is atbash, right? That the aleph becomes a tuf, and you read it as a tuf, and the different drashas we learn out from it. Just, which was a chiddush to me, that also in addition to the ones that we're familiar with, atbash, albam, there are 22 different types of Tmuras Isiyas, which I never knew. Most of them I never heard of, which probably most of the people also. But he brings 22 different Tmuras of Isiyas. So the Shem Mem Beis, which has many letters to it, can be read many different ways. We have to have Messiah how to do it, which could be somebody does. Obviously I don't. But the Shem of Mem Beis from Anu B'Kayach and the relationship to Bereshis bara Elokim. So if you look in the Pardes Remainim, Shar Esrim Ve'echad, he brings down over there how each ice from the Bereshis bara is mischalif, each one a different cheshbon into the Anu B'Kayach. So what is this telling us? Before I go to that, the other thing that's important to know is that we've learned in Eitz Chaim, Arizal brings down what is another shame of Mem Beis, and today we're going in Madregas. The first Madrega, which is the highest Madrega, is a Pashut, a Shem Pashut, which would be Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei, just the 4 Isis, which is Shem Pashut. The next one would be the Shem of a Milui, right, which is 10 Isis. So you have the 4 plus the 10 is 14. And then if you take the Isis and you go Milui de Milui, as everybody knows, is that you go, without going through the whole thing, let's say it's Yud Vav Daled, so then the first Yud of the Yud Vav Daled is Yud Vav Daled, and then the Vav becomes Vav Yud Vav, and the Daled becomes Daled Lamed Tav, and if you count all the letters after going through the entire Milui, it comes out to 28 Isis, so you have 28 of the Milui, and you have 10 of the Milui itself, which is 38, plus the 4 of the Pashut, which gives it 42. So you have 42 Isis, which goes in Madregas. What's the limud from it, from all these things? The limud from it is, first of all, that as a person, we know, as I quoted over from Baal Shem Tov or Rav Shitza, that everybody has to go through 42 Masayos in his life. That's the Metzias. What are they? We don't know the Cheshbon. What is called one of the Masayos, what is not called one of the Masayos, we have no idea. It's just not something that was given for us to know. So each person is going to go through his trials and tribulations. And the answer to each one is that as you go, Vayisu, Vayachanu, each time you go through whatever it is, you have to know that it's done b'kavana, and the Vayachanu is that you're going up a madrega. It says in the pasuk, Vayisiru habgodim hatzoyim, that when a person is nifter, you take off. There's a pasuk that's said by the Chevra Kadisha when they do a Taira. They say this pasuk. Well, we do it when we take off the regular street clothing or the hospital gown, whatever it was. But we're really referring to that when a person is nifta and we put them in the ground, and you have what we call that the basar is misachel, it gets eaten up, it rots and it evaporates. That's called Yisiru Habgodim Hatzoyim, because the nefesh, the guf, is what causes us to do all our averis. That's where all the taivas come from. So we take them off, right? After Petira, right? In order that when it comes, Mashiach will come, so we'll be Makabel Pnei Mashiach, all our averis will be gone, we won't have the taivas hanefesh, it'll all be gone from us. What the 42 Matzos is doing to us is doing it to us b'chayev. Any tzara that a person goes through is taking off a shtickle of his begodim hatzoyim, whatever it is, any kilkel or any peronius that happens to a person b'chayev, so it takes off a shtickle. Either he lost money or he had a fight with somebody, whatever can go wrong, his basement flooded, whatever can go wrong, that's considered a shtickle kapara, and which will make him that much cleaner that he'll be able, when the time comes, he has already an advantage that he's able to go upstairs and he's going up with a much cleaner slate than he had before. Each one of these members masois, right, gives a person the ability to go up a madrega. The reason why I'm speculating why it's dafka members is because from what the Arizal said, that you have a pashut, a milui, and a milui de milui, and those are the three pchinas in the shemas. So in the pashut is the highest madrega. So since we all don't reach the highest madrega, so we go through the milui. And since we're all on not such a high madrega, so we have to go through a milui de milui, which is much lower down. There's many different madregas that a person has to go through. You have a person who has tzaras which are off the chart, can't imagine them. And there's a person who has tzaras which are nishkefrelach. So every madrega takes off a little bit of it. And the key is that it's not vayisu, but the key is vayachanu. That every time you go through something, that you're going up a madrega. That's the vayachanu. You're getting closer to the ultimate menucha shlema. And that's what the vayisu is. So when a person has tzaras and not prat, you're supposed to say, "Oi, what can I do? I have so much tzaras, it's so hard for me," and so forth. This is vakert. You're supposed to say that let this tzaras, this paranis be a kapara for me, in order that I should be able to get closer to Kodesh Brichu, that when it comes la'asid lavai v'yanuchu b'shalom al mishkavai, that's where we're all going to be, that will taka be b'shalom al mishkavai. And I just wanted to say that since it was my father's YARTZEIT, the taka, what he went through b'chayav is taka, he is v'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavai, and I'll say hareini kaparas mishkavai.